Hello, my name is Ralph Ellis. I am president of the Ontario Lawn Bowls Association, and today I'd like to talk to you about membership retention. Last year, we retained about 56% of our people who signed up as members, and really that's actually a relatively low number compared to what we target. Most successful organizations, in terms of recruiting, you're looking at again, the first year you might lose 30% of people, and then by the end of year three of that original group, you might lose about 50%. But we are losing about 50% of our new signups in the first year. So that's something that has to get better, and today we're going to talk about how we get there. Now, for overall perspective, recruiting is much easier than retention. And it's also much easier to figure out strategies for recruiting. We have a great article about Bowls Australia. That's probably the best thing I've ever seen on this. That talks about recruiting and retention, and it's a 72-point document, but only points 66 to 72 are actually on retention. It's actually a harder nut to crack, and you actually have to be focused on it throughout the year. When you're looking at retention, basically, you need to know why people are staying and why people are going. My club has always done an exit review of people who decided not to rejoin. However, that's not quite enough. What clubs really have to do in the course of the year is that maybe twice in the course of the year, ask your new people how it's going. And you can do that either informally by, let's say, doing a telephone conversation with them, or you can actually give them a little survey by email. We kind of suggest like doing an online survey, like a SurveyMonkey, to ask them basically about how their experience is going. And that kind of alerts you, let you know if you have issues or problems that you haven't considered. Basically, because your new members can kind of get lost when they first come to the club because they're not familiar with the activities. They may not have any immediate friends at the club, things like that. And so you have to be aware of this and be prepared to draw people in. So look at doing regular surveys actually with these people. Also look at doing, again, weekly emails to really all of the members of your club about club activities, what's going on, where to seek help, where to find coaching. Okay, and you need actually novice specific activities. One year at my club, we did a novice league, where basically it was for players 5 years and under, which we actually found was very helpful because players didn't feel intimidated by playing against more experienced players. They got to play a variety of positions. They got to see what being a skip is like, things like that. So if you have novice-oriented activities, that tends to make them more involved. You can have novice competitions at your club. You can have tournaments at your club where each team has to carry a novice player. Things like that that basically try to force the involvement of the new people in the life of the club. You also be aware that people join your club for various reasons. Some people are former competitive athletes. They're interested in competition. They want to go out to tournaments. And other people are there because they want the social contact. So it means your club has to have social activities. You have to, again, get them involved. You have to, again, invite them to the activities. You have to make sure that people feel comfortable. You might actually have your members wear their name tags again at all of the early events in the course of the year, just to make it easier for people to recognize other people and begin conversations. The one thing that's very common at larger clubs is that they simply don't know enough of the people that are there, and they feel a little bit intimidated. Some people are just not automatically social butterflies, so they have to make the environment as inviting as possible. It's really important to have somebody who's actually in charge of membership retention. Sometimes actually that's your general membership person, but that may or may not be your best choice. If you have someone who's actually tracking what's going on with your new people, are they coming out to events? Do they have issues with the events and how they're being run? Does it look like they're going to renew again for the next year? Things like that. Those are things that you want to know again in the course of the year, and hopefully before they actually make a decision to stay or to go. So again, you're looking really at keeping in touch with all of your people. You're looking at getting feedback from them about what they like about the experience, what they don't like about the experience. You're looking at dealing with your older members and making sure that they understand the importance of talking to these people, getting them involved, and being willing to play with someone who is still learning the game and may not be that great at the start. I had an issue once with a former club president where she was probably costing us about 2 members a year because she was being very, very hard on new players, expected them to know the things that she knew as an experienced competitive player. And then we sat down and had a chat, and I said, if you want them to know these things, you're going to have to teach them to them. And that made a bit of a difference with her, but it was difficult for her to get away from the sense that these people should already know these things, but of course, they don't. This is why you have to have like a rules clinic. It's why you have to have regular available coaching. You may want to have a regular scheduled coaching night with different topics. You may want to have things targeted at novice players. Again, about being a club lead, about moving up to playing vice, about becoming a skip, about strategy. In the course here, have a coaching program where you can get people out, or you can have a dedicated coach. One thing we did at James Gardens is that with the Canada Summer Jobs Program, we had Eric Gallipo as a club coach for a year, and that was very helpful for our new players because they could make arrangements for coaching sessions one-on-one pretty much any time. And so we did that as opposed to running group coaching events because we could tailor it more towards the individual. So take a look at these opportunities. Again, Canada Summer Jobs Program or working with your existing coaches and players to give these people opportunities to learn the game and then opportunities to participate in a relatively non-critical environment. So this has been a relatively short discussion, but this is absolutely central to what we're dealing with. Because lawn bowling, we've become very good at recruiting people. We are less good at keeping them. So we need to get those ratios to be a little better. Our growth rate was only actually, again, about 150 people this year, when it really should have been somewhere between 300 to 500. So we really need to focus on this, and the retention numbers are going to be under pressure for several years. Because when you are good at recruiting, you're going to have a lot of new people, and there's always more turnover with new people. And some of that you can't help. Some people, they try the game, they don't like it. Some of the people are not able to play. But you have to ask yourself sometimes, if they're not able to play, why aren't they able to play? For example, if your greens are incredibly slow, that's going to be an issue with your older players. So, again, ask them what the problems are, ask them what the issues are, and take a look at solutions. And hopefully ask them before they actually leave. And the very worst case scenario, after they leave, ask them, again, in a non-judgmental way. Say, so what was it about your experience that made you want to stay or made you want to go? Again, and what were the key elements in that decision? And that will help you plan for next year. And again, have someone responsible for this and in charge of this so that they can follow it from year to year. Because you're looking at patterns over the course of 4 to 5 years, not just 1 year, and you get good at this over time. At the OLBA level, we've always focused a bit more on recruitment because we have ways of making you recruit. We can use the grants program to make you run a recruiting program, things like that, and that all kind of ties into it. But on the retention level, this has to be done locally, and the OLBA has no way to make you run a good retention program other than just telling you how to do it. So you got my video here today. The article from Bowls Australia, we're happy to send to you, and we've sent to you actually several times already in different formats. But again, I'm happy to send that to you at your request, and I'll post it on our social media for people to take a look at. So again, now's the time. Take a look at the people who've been at your club the whole year, the 1,500 new people that the OLBA recruited this year, and start asking them what was their experience like and what they would like to see done differently. And that's your starting point for next year. Thank you.